Hi, good evening and welcome to this quick not webinar, such a video on measuring the caffeine of tea. So I have, it's not so much fresh, but it's not so processed as you would normally expect. It's kind of, greenish. I've heard it's got some interesting sort of wellness properties, and I'm going to measure the caffeine in this particular tea this evening. With that said, I've weighed out 50 milligrams of the tea on this little balance. I'm going to take that tea and I'm going to transfer it into a little vial. So I'll just tap this out. Right, there we go. I've got the majority of that tea out now. I'll take one of these little centrifuge tubes and I will just get the tea into that tube. Right, so we've got 50 milligrams in that particular tube. I'm going to get 1 milliliter of buffer. So with the Food Sense Generation 4, and it's got the capability of measuring caffeine, I've got this particular caffeine buffer which comes with the unit. I'm going to take 1 milliliter of that buffer. So I've got some buffer here. I'll do it now. And I will pipette that in. There we go. Right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to vortex that for about 60 seconds. I'm just going to put a clean sensor into here, in fact. So let me just move that sensor in. Let me close up. Right, so sensors in there. I've got my sample here. Now I do have a vortex in front of me. But in fact, what I want to do is I just want to make sure that I put a name into the app, because then I can find the data easier later on. So this is, and I apologize for my pronunciation. I think this tea is kind of called Guayusa, but I'm just going to give it a name so I can find it later on. Right, so I've given that a name. I've got my tea here. Now you can see from the color that, it's not necessarily very extractive because it's just sitting there in the buffer. Now the vortexer, this will vibrate the sample, at sort of thousands of times per second. So I'll just do this for about 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Right, so now I've done a bit of extraction on that. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to grab a pipette. I want 50 microliters. I will grab 50 microliters of this, which I have done. I will put that onto the sensor, which I have done. I'm just going to go continue, and I'm just going to choose, the 1 in 20. So it's the 1 in 20 that dilution that I've chosen there, because that's what effectively I've done. And I will hit start. And the unit is not terribly exciting. It's off there running away now with itself, and it will measure the caffeine in that tea sample. So again, there's the tea sample. You can see all the tea sort of sitting in there. We vortex it for about 30 seconds, and that is extracting the caffeine, and then we put the sample onto the sensor, about 50 microliters. I named it so I can actually find it later on in the cloud, because every time we do a measurement, the data goes up to the cloud. We save it. We save the time, the date, the user's name, the raw signal, and the value that is actually in that particular sample. So it's come back at milligrams per gram of 40 milligrams. And what I want to do now is I'm just going to share my screen with you, and I've got to remember which one to do. Yeah, so what I'll do now is I'm just going to do a refresh on this. This was a freshly made sample, freshly extracted, and we got 40 milligrams. So I can go up here, I can do a refresh, and I know I called it something with a 2 in it, so there's that there. And then you can kind of come in here and you can kind of got full traceability actually on that. I can see this is the caffeine peak in that particular tea. I can see the peak here, and I can see that we've caught it, and we've reported 39.982, which the app rounded up to 40 milligrams. This is everyone who has a Food Sense Generation 4 office gets the Premier account. This is the Julie Premier account, and it then allows me to kind of, you know, if I'm ever needing to troubleshoot this, it's very easy for us to come in here and really dig down, and even I even know what dilution, you know, for example, somebody had used. So it's very powerful for knowing what the result was, what the raw signal looked like, and troubleshooting as well if there's ever a concern. But when you look at this, let's say you get a very sort of strong caffeine peak here, and you can see our analysis and the way we kind of catch it and we measure the peak height. So if you have any questions regarding Food Sense Generation 4 and our ability to measure caffeine, I suppose I can just say you can actually reach us here. So Food Sense Technologies, contact us, and then that. So I'll put that link underneath the video at the end. Okay, thanks very much.